everyone, welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. Am I visible and audible to all of you? Good evening, guys. Hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you so much. Namaskar ji, namaste ji, namaste. How are you all? It took a little bit of time. Setup takes time, that's why. Good evening, good evening. So, there's this very important or, a common problem that everybody faces, especially at this time when the exam is near. You suddenly remember that there is a lot that you haven't really. I am audible? Good. And I'm visible also, right? Yes, namaste, namaste. I know. And the stress is because of a lot of things, and one of the things is backlog, right? There's a lot of syllabus that remains that you didn't really uh, do, that you haven't really started. And the question is, how would you do it now? So that's something that, bothers a lot of students and it creates a lot of pressure. And this is why I have decided to take this session. So before we begin, you should know that the mock is going on. You need to attempt it now. You need to attempt it not on the last day. You need to attempt it now, right? So take it, do as best as you give your best, and let's wait and let's see what the result is. And nobody is supposed to give a half-hearted or half-baked attempt. Everybody has to, give their complete effort. पूरा effort डाल के mock लेना है, पूरा effort डाल के mock को attempt करना है, आधा अधूरा mock नहीं देना है, या फिर बस ये देखने के लिए questions कैसे हैं, एक बार questions देख लेता हूँ बाद में दे दूंगा, ये सब नहीं करना है. Proper exam की तरह उसको attempt करना है, ठीक है ना? Can we still start from scratch and get NLSIU? It won't be fair if you ask me. I mean, maybe you can, maybe you can't. It's very like there's a what 70-30 possibility. Actually 80-20. 20% you might be able to get NLS. Okay, so it's not too late to qualify CLAT, but if you're aiming for the best college, like I would prepare only for a month and a half, and then I would I'll get the best college. What about the students who have been preparing for almost an year now? Right, so would you be able to match with their speed and their effort and their, syllabus? The syllabus is pretty much a lot, but you can still decide. You can still take the classes. You can still try to finish everything possible. Chalk out the most important topics. उनको करो, बस उन्हीं पर ध्यान दो और देखो फिर क्या होता है. Does the device affect scores? What do you mean device? If you're taking it on the phone or on the computer, it can actually. It's a very valid point. Revision now will be done through mocks. Revision will be now done through mocks and sectional tests. That's the way you revise. Okay, there is no theory that you would mug up and keep revising. No. The only way to revise is through mocks and sectional tests. That's it. Okay? Yep. We also have a daily Hindi newspaper analysis in English and Hindi, 11 a.m. every day. So Hindu is important and the editorials play a very important role in your understanding and overall awareness. So you should attend it. It depends on a lot of things. Marks actually are very subjective. सोचने वाली बात है कि पेपर किस तरह से सेट किया गया है, क्या लेवल था, बहुत हार्ड था, इजी था, एटसेट्रा. ये सब डिपेंड करता है कि आपके मार्क्स कितने आने चाहिए एडमिशन के लिए, राइट. बट आप मान के चलिए कि अगर आपको टीयर 1 कॉलेज चाहिए तो आपको मिनिमम 100 चाहिए होंगे मार्क्स. And if you belong to a general category, you need to score minimum 85 to get into any national university. Okay? It's still possible. Why not? Everything is possible if you ask me, Khushi. Okay? Everything is possible. So we are here to discuss backlogs. पहले backlogs discuss कर लेते हैं, उसके बाद फिर हम बाकी problems पे focus करेंगे. तो बैकलॉग से बहुत सारी परेशानी है, बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं. आई एम फेसिंग दीज क्वेश्चंस ऑन अ डेली बेसिस. स्टूडेंट्स आर asking me that they're running behind the schedule and they haven't really completed GK current affairs. How much GK current affairs do they need to do? I asked them that, at least 10 months would be there, and 10 months they have only done 3 months properly and the rest 7 months are in limbo. There's no steady pace of the classes, and you're confused, you're preparing on your own, and there's so many backlogs and you're really confused. So see, there are types of backlogs. It is definitely vast, but it can be covered. ठीक है. 3 तरह के बैकलॉग होते हैं. सबसे पहला तो जब आपने टॉपिक बिल्कुल पढ़ा ही नहीं है, बिल्कुल ही नहीं पढ़ा, आपने टच ही नहीं किया, उसको छोड़ दिया. दूसरा बैकलॉग जब आपको कॉन्सेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी नहीं थी, आपने पढ़ा, आपने सुना, आपने समझा, लेक्चर भी अटेंड किया, आपको समझ नहीं आया, आप आगे बढ़ गए, उसको पीछे ही छोड़ दिया. तीसरा, चैप्टर बीच में ही था, आप उसे पूरा नहीं कर पाए, नया चैप्टर शुरू कर दिया, वो तीसरा जो चैप्टर था पुराना वो पीछे छूट गया. राइट? ये 3 तरह के बैकलॉग्स होते हैं, और ये तीनों तरह के बैकलॉग्स बहुत ज्यादा इम्पेडिमेंट और बहुत इंटरफेरेंस क्रिएट करते हैं आपके प्रिपरेशन में. we'll come to it. whatever your problem is, स्कोर कितना है, कम है, वो सब कर लेंगे. अभी जो प्रेजेंट सेशन है वो बैकलॉग्स पे, पहले उसे डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. ठीक है? यस. So basically, you don't have to panic. You're not the only student जो कि backlog suffer कर रहा है, या फिर जिसके preparation में there is something missing in the preparation, or there's something that you haven't really done. There are topics that you haven't really covered, and this is something that happens to everyone, including the students who are going to top the exam, including the toppers themselves. ठीक है? जो बच्चे ऑलरेडी क्लैट दे चुके हैं, जो पैटर्न को बहुत अच्छे से समझते हैं, एग्जाम को बहुत अच्छे से समझते हैं, और शायद एनएलयू में पहुंच भी गए, बेटर एनएलयू के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं, उनको भी बैकलॉग्स का सामना करना पड़ता है. इट इज अ वेरी कॉमन प्रॉब्लम. So first you need to identify it and take it as a normal problem. You have a lot of problems. You panic during the exam. आप स्ट्रेस में आ जाते हैं, आपको एंजाइटी हो जाती है, क्वेश्चंस आने लगते हैं. Everybody starts, panicking कि भाई कैसे कैसे क्या करूं, and what do I do, how do I handle it, I'm panicking, I'm stressing, I'm anxious, and all of these things surround you. They start dangling over your head, and you're like, I cannot prepare. So the moment that you identify that there are certain topics that I need to cover, you have done great. अगर आप उन टॉपिक्स को आइडेंटिफाई कर लेते हैं कि हाँ चलो ये टॉपिक्स हैं जो मैंने किए नहीं थे, मैं करूंगा भी नहीं, ये इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स हैं, मैं कुछ छोड़ूंगा नहीं, तो आप मान के चलिए कि आपकी आधी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो चुकी है, क्योंकि आपने आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया है. राइट? यू हैव आइडेंटिफाइड. सो दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेप. First you need to identify, and first you need to realize that there is still a lot of chunk in your syllabus that remains unfinished, and you need to complete that too. As soon as you address it, now comes the second step. What is the second step? The second step is you need to first focus on what is going on. The first tip to cover backlog is not to completely ignore what is going on right now. Okay, so if you are enrolled in a program, if there is something that you are doing on your own, if you have a proper schedule for yourself, or if there is something that you are studying, you're trying to understand, you're doing something at present, you cannot avoid it and then focus on the past. No, you need to focus on the topics that are being taught in present. If it is Hindu analysis that is being taken care of, you need to take the classes that are running. Okay, if you stop considering the present classes and focus just on what is remaining, you're not solving your problem, you are increasing your burden. एक बैकलॉग को कवर करने के लिए आप एक नया बैकलॉग क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. तो प्रेजेंट को साथ लेकर चलना है, प्रेजेंट क्लासेस को अटेंड करना है, प्रेजेंट में जो भी पढ़ाया जा रहा है उस पर ध्यान देना है, आप जो पढ़ रहे हैं उस पर भी ध्यान देना है, उतने ही फोकस के साथ उसे पढ़ना है। स्ट्रेटेजी है। सेकंड में आपको ये ध्यान रखना है कि भाई नया कोई बैकलॉग क्रिएट नहीं होना चाहिए। तो कोई भी टॉपिक आप पढ़ रहे हैं, मेक श्योर कि किसी भी 3 कैटेगरी में आपका नया टॉपिक फॉल नहीं करता। अगर कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी नहीं हो पाई, उसे कोशिश करो कि भाई इस बार तो मैं पूरा करूंगा इसे। अगर वो चैप्टर अधूरा है और नया चैप्टर शुरू हो गया, तो मेक श्योर कि तुम नया चैप्टर और वो पुराना चैप्टर साथ साथ करो, वो चैप्टर पूरा खत्म करो। ठीक है, ये करना ही है। अगर कोई डाउट क्रिएट हो गया है, कोई प्रॉब्लम आ गई है, किसी भी तरह की परेशानी आ गई है कंसेप्ट को लेकर, टॉपिक को लेकर, सिलेबस को लेकर, सेक्शन को लेकर, पर्टिकुलर किसी भी चीज को लेकर, यू मेक श्योर दैट यू आर रिमूविंग दैट प्रॉब्लम देयर एंड देन। यू आर नॉट लीविंग इट फॉर अ फ्यूचर डेट। ये समझ नहीं आया, लीगल में मैम ने मिस्टेक पढ़ा था यार, मुझे क्लियर नहीं है वर्ड और वर्डेबल का कंसेप्ट, बाद में क्लियर कर लूंगा, अभी जो पढ़ रहा हूँ वो पढ़ लेता हूँ। नहीं, मैंने तुम्हें प्राइवेट डिफेंस पढ़ाया, तुम्हें क्वेश्चंस से तुम्हें परेशानी आई, पूरी तरह से क्लियर नहीं हुआ, लेकिन तुमने पूछा नहीं मुझसे, तुम बाद में सोच के चल रहे हो कि मैं बाद में पूछ लूंगा। नहीं, अभी पूछो। प्रेजेंट बैकलॉग को सबसे पहले क्रिएट किया जाएगा, सॉरी क्लियर किया जाएगा। प्रेजेंट में कोई बैकलॉग क्रिएट नहीं करना है। राइट, द मिस्टेक दैट यू डिड इन द पास्ट आर नॉट टू बी डन अगेन। किस वजह से तुम्हारा सिलेबस छूट गया? लाइक आई टोल्ड यू, समझ नहीं आया तो छोड़ दिया, बीच में पढ़ रहे थे, नया टॉपिक धीरे पढ़ रहे थे, धीरे धीरे समझ पा रहे थे, और नया चैप्टर शुरू कर दिया, उसे बीच में ही छोड़ दिया, इसे बाद में, आधा बाद में कर लूंगा, या फिर उसको ध्यान ही नहीं दिया, उसको पूरा छोड़ दिया, यार ये छोटा सा टॉपिक है इसे बाद में करूंगा। इस तरह से बहुत सारा मटेरियल इकट्ठा हो गया, अब बहुत सारा मटेरियल है कवर करने के लिए। ठीक है, उस मटेरियल को धीरे 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 कवर करना है। ये आपकी गलती थी, आपको उस टॉपिक को उस टाइम पे इग्नोर नहीं करना चाहिए था। I'll tell you everything and I'll answer all your questions. Okay, give me some time. We'll dedicate a separate time in this session itself to answer all your questions. एक अलग से 10-15 मिनट 20 मिनट्स निकालेंगे, तुम अपने सारे क्वेश्चंस पूछ लेना। अभी जो प्रॉब्लम है वो भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, बैकलॉग भी एक प्रॉब्लम है, वो भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, ये भी फिर बैकलॉग ही है। प्रेजेंट में जो डिस्कस कर रही हूँ उस पर ध्यान दिए बिना तुम एक ऐसी प्रॉब्लम को सामने रख दो जो पुरानी है, और जो प्रेजेंट, ये भी जो प्रॉब्लम है इसे पूरी तरह से इग्नोर कर दो, ये भी बैकलॉग होता है। दिस इज प्रोक्रास्टिनेशन, आई थिंक दिस इज नॉट टू बी डन, this is exactly what landed you in this problem. Okay, so whatever questions that you have which are not related to this, I will dedicate 10-15 good minutes for it. You can ask all your questions in that time. Okay, तो अभी अभी कर लेते हैं इसको। Got it? Yeah. Now, like I said, yes, so like I said, you have to make sure that the mistakes that you did that led to that entire burden are not happening again. किस वजह से हुआ वो पूरा का पूरा बैकलॉग, वो फिर से नहीं करना, वो परेशानी और वो प्रॉब्लम्स को फिर से नहीं आने देना है। पूरी करनी है प्रेजेंट की सारी चीजें, चाहे वो क्लास हो, चाहे वो मॉक हो, चाहे वो सेक्शनल टेस्ट हो, चाहे वो कोई भी तरह की किसी भी तरह की प्रैक्टिस हो, प्रेजेंट में उस प्रैक्टिस को फिनिश करना है। प्रेजेंट में बैकलॉग क्रिएट नहीं होने देना है। बाद में फिर देखेंगे कि पुराना बैकलॉग कैसे कवर करें। ठीक है। दूसरा, डिवाइड एंड कॉन्कर। Devote 2-3 hours every day to complete your backlog. Okay, rest of the time do whatever is going on at present. If I am giving you a homework, do that. If there's a class happening, attend it, but take out good 2-3 hours to cover what remains, जो पहले छूट गया है, जो पहले नहीं पढ़ा है, उसे कवर करने के लिए 2 से 3 घंटे आपको निकालने ही पड़ेंगे। और अगर आपने नहीं निकाला तो वो सिलेबस फिर छूट ही जाएगा, फिर वो कभी कवर नहीं होगा। और हमेशा ऐसा होता है कि जो चीज आप छोड़ देते हैं वही एग्जाम में पूछ ली जाती है, और फिर दिमाग में वही गिल्ट रहता है, यार ये मैं पढ़ने वाला था, मैंने पढ़ा क्यों नहीं। और ये हर किसी के साथ होता है, तो मेक श्योर कि ये तुम्हारे साथ ना हो। ठीक है, पूरी की पूरी बैकलॉग की लिस्ट बना लो, सबसे पहले लिस्ट बना लो और फिर सीक्वेंस डिसाइड करो। चलो अभी तुम्हारी परेशानियों को देख लेते हैं. How many months of current affairs do they ask? You need to have at least 10 to 12 months का current affairs in your compendium. आपके पास 10 to 12 months के current affairs की information होनी चाहिए. अब इसको कवर कैसे करना है, क्योंकि टाइम नहीं है, आपने बहुत सारा टाइम गवा दिया है, तो फिर आप अब एनुअल कंपेंडियम्स उठाइए. ठीक है, एनुअल मैगजीन्स आती हैं, 2-3 मैगजीन्स ले लीजिए और मेक श्योर कि आप उन मैगजीन्स को पूरा पढ़ें. राइट, अब ये तुम कैसे करोगे ये तुम पर है. किस तरह से पढ़ते हो, किस तरह से टाइम डेडिकेट करते हो, किस तरह से उसे पूरा करते हो, ये तुम पर है. तुम डिसाइड करो कि कैसे पूरा करोगे. इसमें बहुत ज्यादा विल पावर की जरूरत होती है. लेट्स से 250 पेजेस हैं एक एनुअल मैगजीन के, जो कि जनरली होते ही हैं. अब उनमें से तुम सिर्फ उन टॉपिक्स पे फोकस करो जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. ठीक है, तो नेशनल और इंटरनेशनल पे कवर करो सबसे पहले. Naga, you are really disturbing me, buddy. And this is not fair. You know this doubt can be clarified in a class also. And I have a feeling that you already understand the difference. You can ask me later. I'm explaining something else right now. You're continuously asking the question. Okay. Now what I'm saying is that if how to revise all, I'm coming to it. I'm coming to it. So now let's say that you have about 250, 300 pages of an annual magazine, any annual compendium that you like, any one. But you need to have at least 2 to 3. One won't suffice. Vision IAS out of the picture, not happening at all. Don't take Vision IAS. You can take Pratyogita Darpan, you can take any other magazine which is more factual than theoretical. Okay. For CLAT Ignite in 1 month, it's very difficult. CLAT Ignite is definitely good for GK, but you have to complement it with one more. You did not. Okay, so CLAT Ignite definitely works. It is a very good magazine. But the thing is that you have to complement it with a newspaper. Okay, or any other source. A newspaper and CLAT Ignite are best. Like together, they are the best. They would cover 95% of your syllabus when it comes to GK. 4 CLAT Ignite in 1 month, एक achievable goal रखो या this is not possible. This is not possible. और जो तुम पढ़ोगे वो तुम याद ही नहीं रख पाओगे. 4 मैगजीन्स को एक महीने में कवर नहीं किया जा सकता. तो वो एक महीने में क्रिएट की जाती है मैगजीन. उसमें पूरे मंथ की इंफॉर्मेशन होती है. अगर तुम कर सकते हो कवर अच्छे से, सिंसियरिटी के साथ, पूरा ध्यान देके, बहुत अच्छी बात है. लेकिन ये बहुत एम्बिशियस गोल है, इसको अचीव करना डिफिकल्ट है. ठीक है. Okay, so everybody wants me to answer their questions and completely want me to not focus on the session. मैं क्या मतलब, should we make it a question and answer session? Backlog पे discuss ना करूं? ऐसा भी कर सकते हैं. मतलब मैं जो पढ़ाने आई थी या जो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने आई थी वो नहीं करती. ठीक है, उसे मैं बाद में देख लूंगी. पहले तुम्हारे ही क्वेश्चन आंसर कर देती हूँ. व्हाट डू यू से? ऐसा ही कर देते हैं. ठीक है, करे कैसे ये तो आपको डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा ना बच्चे. आपको देखना पड़ेगा कि भाई क्या क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है. वही तो बता रही थी मैं, बीच बीच में लगातार क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं तो मैं फोकस नहीं कर पा रही हूँ. आपको पहले तो सेग्रीगेट करना पड़ेगा कौन सी इंफॉर्मेशन बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. बहुत what information is extremely, leave everything, let me answer this particular question. This student really needs to know. Void means something which law does not recognize. Okay, something whose existence law doesn't recognize is called void, right? So in a contract, if you violate it, if you don't really do what is written in the contract, if you violate the contract, if you breach the contract, the consequence is legal. A person will take you to the court. ठीक है, अगर आपने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को वायलेट कर दिया तो सामने वाला आदमी आपको कोर्ट ले जाएगा. यही कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का कंसीक्वेंस होता है. लेकिन एक सिचुएशन ऐसी है जहां पे आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को वायलेट भी कर देते हैं और आपके ऊपर कोई पेनल्टी या फिर कोई कंसीक्वेंस भी नहीं लगता. क्यों? क्यों? क्योंकि आपका कंसेंट उस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में एंटर होने से पहले फ्री नहीं था. When you entered the contract, your consent wasn't free, right? You entered the contract without a proper consent, or what should I say, proper agreement. Your mind was not in it, your heart was not in it, right? So you were manipulated to enter into a contract. So you can get out of a contract, you can breach the contract, but law will not penalize you. You will not be charged, or you will not be liable for violation of a contract. So a valid contract which can also become void is called a voidable contract. Okay. Hmm. No, I'll solve the questions first. Backlog को बाद में करते हैं. So I'll solve all the questions. Backlog वगैरह we'll do it later. हाँ, तो मैं करंट अफेयर्स के बारे में बता रही थी. आप अपने फैकल्टी से, रेस्पेक्टिव फैकल्टीज की क्लासेस को देखिए, डिसाइड सेग्रीगेट करिए क्या क्या बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. उन इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक्स को मैगजीन में मार्क कर लीजिए. जो टॉपिक नेशनल इंटरनेशनल इंपॉर्टेंस के हैं वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. यू मार्क देम स्पेशली, यू रीड देम ओवर एंड ओवर अगेन, एंड दैट्स हाउ यू कवर द बैकलॉग ऑफ जीके करंट अफेयर्स. यू ओनली डू द जीके टॉपिक्स which are most important, right? Which are most important. So generally topics which are of international and national importance, whether it is of any topic, whether it is sports or economics or anything which has created an international or a national outrage, becomes automatically important, right? So something which is worth paying attention to is important. Now you segregate those topics on the basis of their importance. You do only the most important topics for the whole year, and that's how you cover GK. Okay. How to revise all the subjects? The best way to revise all subjects is through mocks and sectional tests. That is the only way to revise in an exam like CLAT, because there is no theory that you can cram, right? You can only revise through testing yourself. So keep on taking mocks, increase the intensity, take at least a mock one day, take 5 mocks a week, and that should help you revise a lot. Okay. If a passage comes on trespass and my concept is clear, then would it be necessary to read the whole passage in legal reasoning section? 100% Bhavesh. You cannot solve questions without reading the passage. You just cannot. I have given you legal knowledge not so that you can completely ignore the passage and solve the questions. No, it is for you to understand the passage in a lesser time. आप पैसेज को जल्दी से पढ़ के, जल्दी से समझ के, जल्दी से डिसाइफर कर ले, ये है आपकी लीगल नॉलेज का यूज. आप उसे क्वेश्चन सॉल्विंग में इस्तेमाल नहीं करेंगे. आप क्वेश्चन सॉल्विंग में पैसेज में दी गई इंफॉर्मेशन को ही यूज करेंगे. ठीक है. इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स ऑफ लीगल रीजनिंग, मैंने काफी सारे सेशंस लिए इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स पे. आई हैव टेकन मेनी सेशंस ऑन व्हाट इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स आर देयर फॉर लीगल रीजनिंग. ओके. तो यू वॉच वन ऑफ द सेशन. एक साथ इसमें नहीं कवर हो पाएगा, तो पूरा प्रेजेंटेशन के साथ आई हैव टोल्ड यू मल्टीपल टाइम्स, यू कैन वॉच दैट सेशन एंड इट विल हेल्प यू. हाउ टू अंडरस्टैंड क्या इंपॉर्टेंट क्या नहीं है, सब कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट लगता है. टॉक टू योर रेस्पेक्टिव फैकल्टी, है ना. टॉक टू योर फैकल्टीज. इंग्लिश के अलग है, जीके के अलग है, मैथमेटिक्स, लॉजिक, एवरी सब्जेक्ट हैज अ स्पेशल फैकल्टी. You can ask them, ma'am, what are the important topics? She'll tell you. You can ask your, you can ask KD sir, Ankur sir. They'll tell you the important topics. ये वही बता देंगे आपको क्या important है. ठीक है. आप खुद तो डिसाइड नहीं कर पाएंगे. अगर आप खुद ही करना चाहते हैं एफर्ट, तो देख लीजिए पास्ट ईयर क्वेश्चन पेपर्स का क्या ट्रेंड रहा है, किस चीज पे ज्यादा फोकस किया गया है, वही इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. उसकी एक लिस्ट बना लीजिए. ये टॉपिक लगभग हर साल पूछ लिया जाता है. इस टॉपिक को एक भी साल में नहीं पूछा गया है तो वो नहीं पूछा जाएगा, वो इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है. एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया से अक्सर सवाल आ ही जाते हैं. 3 सालों में से 2 बार आ चुके हैं तो वो इम्पोर्टेंट है. ठीक है. इस तरह से लिस्ट बना लीजिए हर सेक्शन की. हो गई इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स की लिस्ट तैयार. 60-65 in LE mocks good. It's okay. Not complete, not too bad, not too good. नहीं है, शॉर्टकट किसी भी चीज का नहीं है। जो मैंने बताया उससे छोटा रास्ता कोई है ही नहीं, ठीक है, उससे छोटा रास्ता कोई है ही नहीं। सिर्फ इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स पे फोकस करो, यही तरीका है। About marks is 60 a good score. Arya, I would be honest, it's not good. It's not good. You need to do better. Okay. How to analyze marks? Analyze marks in a way that, you need to first identify where you are going wrong. What mistakes are you making? Right? So if there's a mistake that you're continuously making, for example, you're leaving questions, आप questions को बिल्कुल छोड़ देना, आप attempt ही नहीं कर रहे, तो आपका concept clear नहीं है, आपको concept clear करने की जरूरत है। अगर आप क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट कर रहे हैं लेकिन गलत अटेम्प्ट कर रहे हैं, तो आप देखिए कि गलत क्यों हो रहा है, आपका आंसर सही आंसर क्यों नहीं था, और सही आंसर क्यों था। ये है मॉक का एनालिसिस, ऐसे ही होता है मॉक का एनालिसिस। अगर आपका आंसर सही था तो आप उस सही आंसर तक कैसे पहुंचे, क्या कोई और तरीका है, कोई शॉर्टर वे है, ठीक है, इज देयर समथिंग बेटर दैट यू कैन डू, दैट इज you're getting only 7 marks in mock. How to improve 7 marks? I don't know, how would you improve? Why are you making so many mistakes? How is it that you're making so many mistakes that you're only getting 7? Are you not attempting questions at all? Do you not understand the concepts? What is it? What is your problem? What is the problem exactly? See, everybody gets less marks. Sometimes people get more marks. The problem is, or the major solution to this is to identify why do you even get less marks? What is it that you're not doing that you should do? Do you need to attend more classes? Do you need to understand the concepts better? Do you need to focus on a particular section more? Is there one section that is creating a lot of problems? So what is it that is bothering you? What is it that is affecting your score? This is something that you can only identify yourself. You just tell me, ma'am, I'm scoring this, and what to do about it. So why are you scoring this? This is something that I won't understand, because I don't have your paper. I don't know how you're performing. I don't know what mistakes you're making. That is something that you can only identify on your own. This is a problem that you can solve on your own. I can only tell you how to solve it, but you need to understand what exactly is the problem. That's so sweet, Sam. I'm so glad. I hope you do better. जीके में तो इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं है पैसेज रीड का। एक्चुअली जीके में पैसेज को रीड तभी करो जब तुम्हें लगता है पैसेज रीड करना चाहिए। मुझे पता नहीं ये फैकल्टीज क्या कहती है, बट मेरा पर्सनल अप्रोच रहा है कि मैं पहले क्वेश्चंस को पढ़ लेती हूँ। राइट, अगर क्वेश्चन ऐसा है कि मुझे पैसेज तक जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है तो मैं उसे क्वेश्चन को वहीं अटेम्प्ट कर लूंगी। लेकिन अगर क्वेश्चन ऐसा है कि मैं उसका कनेक्शन बिठा नहीं पाई, मैं समझ नहीं पाई किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में पूछा गया, तो मैं पैसेज में पढ़ लूंगी उसे। एक बार पैसेज को पढ़ने में कोई बुराई नहीं है। Okay, right. So you're going to take CLAT for the first time. How to understand the topics? The best way to understand the topic is to watch the sessions. We have multiple sessions coming from multiple faculties. You watch the sessions, you'll start getting hang of it. Start getting hang of it. What is covered in maths? What is covered in English? What are the faculties teaching you? What topics are covered? What in legal is important, what in GK is important, what is Salik sir teaching, what is KD sir teaching. So start attending the lectures that are available on YouTube, or if you want, you can enroll in a program. It'll solve everything. Okay, you'll get the understanding, you'll understand the concepts, and slowly you'll get the hang of it. You'll understand how to go about it. Okay. Anshika, you can definitely increase your score. Definitely. It's very, very possible. 90 is anyway a very good score. If you want to work on it better, you need to have a self-analysis. Okay, you need to place 2, 3 mocks in front of you, analyze the score, see the mock in which you scored the best, see the mock in which you scored the least, and then analyze what was the reason of the score. Bad score, did you leave the question, or did you attempt the question wrong? Again, same problem. If you left it, why did you leave it? If you did it wrong, why did you do it wrong? In the best mock, or in the mock that got you the best score, try to understand how many mistakes did you not make. And what were the mistakes that you did make? Identify the mistakes. Did you leave the questions? Could you do better? Were there questions that you know but you couldn't do it because of the time? Identify the problem, work on it, score will improve automatically. Okay, Anshika? You get anxious during the mock and make silly mistakes during the night. Anya, this is something which everybody does, sweetheart. Everybody faces this problem. Okay, you're after all a child. I always say this. You're after all a child, just a child who is fresh out of school or maybe still in school. So, getting anxious, panicking during the exam is not a big deal. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, whenever you're feeling anxious, just take a few breaths. Just take a few breaths. थोड़ा थोड़ा सा आराम से सांस लंबी बाहर लो, छोड़ो, लंबी सांस बाहर लो, छोड़ो, and remind yourself this is only practice. This is only practice. अगर यहाँ पे भी मैंने सिली मिस्टेक की तो फिर मैं एग्जाम में क्या करूंगी? ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे सिली मिस्टेक नहीं करनी है. जब भी तुम मॉक देने बैठो, बार बार खुद को याद दिलाओ, यहाँ पे मैं बेवकूफी नहीं करूंगी, यहाँ पे मैं सिली मिस्टेक्स नहीं करूंगी, मैं बिल्कुल नहीं घबराऊंगी. ये सिर्फ प्रैक्टिस है. मुझे कोई जेल नहीं भेज देगा अगर मुझसे गलती हो गई, मुझे कोई पनिशमेंट नहीं देगा मुझसे कोई गलती हो गई. मैं गलतियां अभी सुधार सकती हूँ, मेरे पास बहुत टाइम है. इस चीज को बार बार दिमाग में रख के अपने मॉक्स तो अपने आप पैनिक और एंजाइटी खत्म हो जाएगी. ठीक है. आर देयर एनी मोर क्वेश्चंस? It'll work, trust me. This is what I also did. Worked for me. Anybody, any question? अभी पूछ लो, फिर सेशन में मत पूछना, है ना? सेशन के दौरान फिर तुम्हें एकदम से क्वेश्चन याद आ जाते हैं. तो मैं बैकलॉग पढ़ा लूं या अभी भी कोई क्वेश्चन बाकी है? जल्दी से बता दो. Should I continue with the session or are there questions remaining? No question? Should I continue? Okay, so I'm continuing. Okay. Now you need to divide and conquer. Like I told you, you need to devote 2 to 3 hours for covering backlogs. ठीक है? It's not that difficult. You have time. अभी स्कूल को थोड़ा सा साइड रख देते हैं, थोड़ा सा साइड रख देते हैं, क्योंकि क्लैट के बाद भी बोर्ड्स के लिए 2-3 महीने हैं अच्छे खासे. You have January, you have February, और बोर्ड्स के बीच में ही बहुत सारा गैप मिल जाता है. It's a very spread out sheet. ठीक है. आपकी जो पूरी एग्जाम शीट होती है, सॉरी एग्जाम शीट नहीं, शेड्यूल शीट जो होती है, जो दिन जो बताती है कब कौन से दिन में कौन सा एग्जाम है, वो काफी स्प्रेड होती है. एक के बाद एक एग्जाम नहीं होता. राइट. हमारे यहाँ एक दिन में 2 एग्जाम होते थे कॉलेज में, या फिर लगातार एग्जाम होता था. आज भी एग्जाम है, कल भी एग्जाम है, परसों भी एग्जाम है. थैंकफुली बोर्ड्स में ऐसा नहीं होता, तो तुम्हारे पास बहुत सारा टाइम रहता है बोर्ड्स को प्रिपेयर करने का. अभी पूरी तरह से क्लैट पे आ जाओ, क्योंकि क्लैट आने वाला है, बोर्ड्स अभी बहुत दूर है. ठीक है, तो क्लैट पे पूरी तरह से फोकस करिए. प्रेजेंट में जो चल रहा है वो तो आपको करना है. रात में बैठ के सोने से 2-3 घंटा पहले बैकलॉग को कवर करना है, और ये रोज करना है. राइट. दूसरा, पेशेंस रखना है. You have to trust the process. See, think about it. It's a very logical thing. Okay, a very logical thing. Uh, it took you months to pile up all that backlog, right? It's not something that you did in a matter of hours or days. It was it was a mistake that you made for a long time, for many months. That is why realistically that this, whenever I ask you what question do you have, you never ask me. But as soon as I start teaching, you bombard me with questions. Take my focus completely away from what I'm trying to say. How many hours can you give for your preparation? How many hours can you give and be sincere about those hours? ठीक है, कितने घंटे दे सकते हो तुम अपने एग्जाम की तैयारी के लिए, और उन घंटों में तुम पूरी तरह से सिंसियर रहो. अगर वो 2 घंटे हैं, तुम्हें लगता है कि मैं सिर्फ 2 ही घंटे सिंसियरली पढ़ सकती हूँ, तो 2 ही घंटा पढ़ो, फिर ब्रेक ले लो, बाद में पढ़ना. तो ये तुम्हारा खुद का सब्जेक्टिव डिस्क्रेशन होना चाहिए कि मैं कितने घंटे अपने आप को दे सकती हूँ, अपनी क्लैट को दे सकती हूँ सिंसियरली, विद डेडिकेशन, विदाउट लूजिंग फोकस. आस्क दिस फ्रॉम योरसेल्फ एंड देन डिसाइड हाउ मेनी आवर्स कैन यू गिव. इट इज वेरी सब्जेक्टिव. घंटों से तैयारी नहीं नापी जाती है. आपने सिंसियरली और एक्चुअली कितनी पढ़ाई करी है वो मैटर करती है। घंटों तुम पढ़े बुक को लेकर ऐसे बैठे रहे और कुछ और ही सोच रहे हो। बाहर वाले देख रहे हैं 5 घंटे से किताब लेकर बैठा है, एक पेज तुमसे कवर नहीं हुआ 5 घंटे में, क्या फायदा 5 आवर का। ठीक है, तो कभी भी अपनी तैयारी को आवर्स के बेसिस पे कैलकुलेट मत करिए, ठीक है, ऐसा हो नहीं पाता। आप अपनी तैयारी को गोल्स के बेसिस पे कैलकुलेट करिए, ये करना है, इतना करना है, और आई विल डू इट नो मैटर व्हाट, right? So no matter what time it takes, you need to complete that in a particular day. That's how you prepare, no matter how many hours it takes. Okay, I will not be entertaining any question until I finish my session. 8 hours, oh my god. Guys, seriously, set some realistic goals. Okay, be honest to yourself here. Come on, do you really think you can study 8 hours a day? Nobody can study 8 hours a day. If you can, hats off. I mean, I'm not discouraging you or anything. If you sincerely can study for 8 hours without getting diverted, without losing your focus, complete sincerity, utmost dedication during those 8 hours, go for 10, 15 if you can, but be realistic about it. Can you really study for 8 hours straight? Okay, honesty is a very important element throughout your life, in whatever that you do, whether you are studying, whether you're doing something, even in a relationship, जो भी कुछ है उसमें honesty बहुत important है, खुद से, बाकी किसी से नहीं. You have to be honest to yourself, you have to be truthful to yourself. If you can, study for 8 hours sincerely, like completely 8 hours just for study, very good for you. Clat निकलेगा तुम्हारा rank से. Yeah, okay. Azad, what are you thanking me for, buddy? I'm just solving a question of a student. Uh, there's nothing that I'm teaching. I'll speak in English after this. Okay? Yes. So, like I said, it took you months to get that pile riling up on your head. So obviously you won't be able to finish it in a matter of few hours. Hamad, can we defer it? Like, can I answer your question towards the end of the session? 4-5 hours is manageable. Students can study for 4-5 hours. That is actually possible. But 8 hours is something that, yes, I understand, but can we, okay, fine, ask me. What is it? What do you want to ask? Go ahead. What is it that you want to ask, Hamad? I'm waiting. Okay, you're typing? Are you typing? Okay, I'll wait. I'll start with my session. Right, so you won't be able to finish what you have piled up for months. Hamad, you have to revise GK every day. You cannot study something and then keep it towards for the end. Doesn't work like that. GK, current affairs, is a subject that you have to do every day. Otherwise, you'll definitely forget. Another thing is to read it with the background story. Like every segment, every news has a beginning. It started from something. It started from somewhere. You need to know the background history, how it all started, everything. If you understand the background, you won't forget it that easily. If you just read the facts and know nothing about it, like, from the corners, then you'll definitely forget. So try to know the entire story instead of just that particular fact. How to know what topic is important? Whatever topic is being talked about, everyone is important. Okay. Something that is there everywhere. Everybody is talking about it. It is an international news or it is a national news. It's important. Revision through mocks. I said it. I already said it. Revise through mocks and sectional tests. You practice and you revise only through mocks and sectional tests. That's how you remember also. How haven't you prepared notes? You must have prepared notes, right? If you haven't prepared notes, there's no way to revise except through mocks. If you have prepared notes, keep reading your notes once a week, right? Yes. So you cannot finish everything in a day. It will take you almost the same amount of time. But if you increase your duration, like I will give at least 2 to 3 hours to cover my backlog, I will give at least 2 hours for my present study. Okay, that is your own study. Now, if you do that, your backlog will be completed in a matter of 15-20 days. Trust me, it will complete. And then you start practicing, right? You need to divide your topics into categories. So whenever you have a backlog, first you need to demarcate. Like this is a very good thing that you can do. I did it. So you create a table: mathematics, logical, English, legal, and GK. Right? Then you list the topics in all these sections, all the topics that you haven't done. Right? All the topics. If you haven't done ratio proportion, it should be on the list. Now, talk to your faculty about which topics are the most important among the backlog. Legal mein, if you haven't done contract, if you haven't done criminal, then list out all the topics that you haven't done in contract and criminal. Now you talk to your faculty what topics are the most important in contract and what topics are the most important in criminal. Then create a separate list, meaning thereby you tick mark the important topics or you highlight them. The most important topics should be highlighted. These are the most important topics that I have to cover at any cost, right? And then you give dedicated time to cover those topics, the most important topics. Okay, so English, I'll give 1 hour to these topics, or set a goal. These are the topics that are remaining. I'll cover these 2 topics from English and this 1 topic from legal today. As soon as you do them, tick mark them. So you first start with the most important topic. ठीक है, पूरा सबसे पहले आपको मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक से शुरू करना है एंड देन यू प्रोसीड टुवर्ड्स द टॉपिक्स दैट आर देयर, that are remaining. If you are done with the most important topics, you can later figure out whether or not you have time about the lesser important topics. But you have covered the most important, you are sorted. You don't have to do everything that is there in the backlog. How's that? Okay, right? Okay, that's how you do it. That's how you deconstruct or completely cover the backlog. This is one way. Like I said, you need to sort that list in a way that most important topics are on the top, and the topics that you are not familiar with like at all, they are also on the top. So सबसे ज्यादा important topics ऊपर है और जो topic आपको बिल्कुल ही नहीं आते वो ऊपर है. तो आप उनको divide करेंगे अपने level of understanding से और अपने interest level से. जो टॉपिक आपको सबसे ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग लगे लेकिन आप उन्हें किसी वजह से कर नहीं पाए, आप उन्हें सबसे पहले खत्म कर दीजिए क्योंकि वो सबसे कम टाइम लेंगे, राइट? जो टॉपिक सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट थे लेकिन बहुत ज्यादा लेंदी नहीं है, उनको फिर सेकंड नंबर पे अटेम्प्ट करिए. वो टॉपिक जो लेंदी है और सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है उनको आप थर्ड नंबर पे अटेम्प्ट करिए. चौथी कैटेगरी पे वो टॉपिक्स आएंगे जो बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं थे लेकिन आपने बिल्कुल ही नहीं पढ़े, फिर आप उन टॉपिक्स को करेंगे. ठीक है, दैट्स हाउ यू सेग्रीगेट. That's how you segregate. What am I doing exactly, guys? What am I doing? Hama, this is exactly what I'm doing. I am giving you a strategy only. ठीक है, अगर आप सेशन में फोकस नहीं कर पाएंगे तो आप मॉक्स में कैसे फोकस करेंगे? मैं आपको वही तो बता रही हूँ. और मैंने आपको क्या बताया? मैं शुरू से लेकर एंड तक स्ट्रैटेजी देने की तो कोशिश कर रही हूँ जो आप सुनना नहीं चाहते, राइट? तो सुनो, समझो, मैं स्ट्रैटेजी ही दे रही हूँ. Got it? This is the strategy. I am not giving you anything irrelevant or unimportant. This is the strategy only, that you need a flowchart or a diagram in form of a strategy. You don't, right? So listen to me carefully. You'll understand what I'm doing. Okay. Now, whenever you're doing those topics, you do not do them in limbo. You need to write them down. Okay, whatever you have gathered from the topic, as per your understanding, you need to make a short note of it. All the topics that you are covering. And there should be a separate notebook for your backlog topics. Okay, now this backlog syllabus will start getting covered, and as soon as it start getting covered, like 50% done, 60% done, 70% done, your confidence will start improving. You'll feel more confident, your anxiety level will go down, you'll feel less panicked, right? But then you would have to start from somewhere, कहीं से शुरू करना पड़ेगा. तो सबसे पहले हम क्या करेंगे, डिवाइड एंड कॉन्कर करेंगे. सारे टॉपिक्स को we'll divide all the topics in the way of most important, or in the sequence, most important to least important, right? Then you do the topics that interest you the most. सबसे पहले, first you attack the topics that you like the most, then you attack the topics which were covered half, then you do the topics that you did not even touch, most important. Then you go to the topics that were not as important, right? And you cover them as per your understanding. I can do this topic a day, this I can do this topic from this section, and these two topics from this section. And as you keep doing them, as you keep completing them, keep checking them. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. This should all be done in a separate notebook. All the notes should be created in a separate notebook. Okay, I can help you decide what most important topics are there. First, you need to identify what all topics are remaining in your legal. Okay, what all important topics are remaining in your legal? You can ask me, I'll tell you what are the most important topics that you need to cover first. What topics are, like there. You need not cover them. Even if you don't study them at all, it will still be fine. So your target should be to cover the most important backlogs and then go over to the least important. That's how you need to proceed. And this should be done every day. Just like reading newspaper, you have to create a schedule for covering backlogs also. Otherwise, if you just devote one day, I'll cover it on Sunday. No, you have to do it 7 days a week. Otherwise, the backlog or the pendency will never end. Okay, once matters start getting piled up, they never end. The pile never stops. They would never be able to deal with the pendency completely, no matter how many judges they induct, no matter how many courts they open. The pendency will still be there because new cases keep on coming and the old backlog does not get finished. Okay, important topics मैं already discuss कर चुकी हूँ. एक सेशन में मैं इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स डिस्कस कर चुकी हूँ. आप प्लीज उस सबसे पहले फर्स्ट, ओके फाइन, आई टेल यू द लॉज दैट यू नीड टू कवर. आई कैन ओनली हेल्प यू विद लीगल, बाय द वे. So the first laws that you need to cover are contracts and torts. Then you come to constitution, then you come to criminal. Okay, or you do contract and torts first, then you go to criminal, and then at the end you do constitution because the syllabus is least in constitution. Newspaper reading is very important. So you need to cover contract and torts as much as possible. If you have left out these laws completely, there's a problem. But if there are only certain topics that are remaining, try to cover them on a priority basis. Then come to criminal. At the end, go for constitution. If you don't have time left for any other topic, just leave those topics. Just leave those topics. In legal, there is an advantage. You can crack the questions just with the help of passage also, if you have general idea of law. Okay, so you need to cover these 4 laws as part of your backlog: contract, torts, criminal, and constitution, right? Family law, if there is a passage that comes, treat it like any other unseen passage. Okay, just like any other unseen passage that you have been solving for decades now. For a decade, not decades, but for a decade. You've been solving these passages for a decade. आप लगातार एक 10 सालों से अनसीन पैसेजेस कर रहे हैं. वो फैमिली लॉ का पैसेज हो, इंटरनेशनल लॉ का पैसेज, कोई भी जो पैसेज है उसको बिल्कुल अनसीन पैसेज की तरह ट्रीट करिए. पैसेज को पढ़िए फटाफट. जितने अच्छे से आप पढ़ सकते हैं उतना अच्छे से पढ़िए. इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्ट को अंडरलाइन कर दीजिए. अंडरलाइन करने का तरीका मैं बता चुकी हूँ. ऑथर का ओपिनियन अंडरलाइन होना चाहिए. If there are ingredients, they should be underlined. If there is a definition, it should be underlined. If there is an opinion or a criticism or anything that is given that is figuring or that helps you figure out the tone of the passage, you need to underline that also. That way, you don't have to go back and forth through the passage. You can just see the most important and then solve the questions accordingly. Another way would be to read the questions first. Read family law or any miscellaneous passage questions first. Don't solve them, just read them properly. Then move over to the passage. You understand, you already know now what the question wants to ask. You underline those topics or those lines which would be relevant in solving the questions. Solve the questions thereafter. Okay. Contract thoughts. Contract, you need to cover essentials of contract, right? Void and voidable contracts. There are other topics also. You need to watch the session for it. Okay. Yeah. Now, like I told you, make a list of chapters that you have pending subject wise. Some chapters need to be done first so that you can understand the rest. You cannot do conic sections. Like, you need to understand there has to be sequence. So unless and until you understand what are the essentials of a contract, unless you understand what exactly is a void contract, you won't be able to figure out what is a voidable contract. Right? So if the topics are interrelated, do the topic which is the root, and then do the branches. A rough time plan needs to be figured out. Like, you need to give yourself a certain amount of time in which you will cover the backlog at any cost. Okay, you have to promise yourself, I have 15-20 days, I will cover my entire backlog in those 15-20 days. Now that requires a lot of willpower. I'm sure you guys can manage to have willpower. It is after all a very important competition, right? You need to be realistic with your goals. You cannot study for 10 hours for your backlog and then completely ignore what is going on in the present. So just figure out the topics, make the list of the topics that you're going to do on that particular day. Make sure that you finish all those topics and then put a check on them. And you are not going to sleep until and unless those topics are over. Okay. Generally, students set certain days that I will cover my backlog only on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I would suggest that since there is less time remaining, you try to cover your backlog every day. Every day. Okay. It's very, very natural to have some backlog, especially in a competitive exam. Don't fret. It happens to the best of everyone. So figure out a schedule, chalk out a time frame in which you would do it. Make sure that you do it. Make sure that you understand that there might be some important stuff that is remaining, and make sure that you complete it. Don't rush through your backlog. Do it with the same dedication as you are giving to the present stuff. You need to be as dedicated to your backlog as you are to what is going on in the present. If you don't prioritize it, if you ignore it, if you treat it like some second grade material, then you're not doing it justice. You're not doing your preparation justice. Okay. You need to cover your backlog with the same amount of sincerity and the same dedication that you have been using for the entire preparatory phase. Okay. Azad, there is no shortcut to reading newspapers, buddy. It is one of the most important part of your preparation. If you're not reading newspapers, how are you even covering your current affairs? So if you find newspapers boring, take magazines, take 2 monthly magazines, right? But make sure that you cover them, right? Like, you take 2 magazines for 1 month and you finish those magazines completely. And you have notes and everything made from those magazines. If newspapers bore you, that is one way. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. I hope the strategy was helpful to you. I hope I was able to answer all your questions. So everybody like the session, and you can subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Comment on it and share it if you really like it. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook. You can join our Telegram channel, and you can also download our app on Google Play, right? Arya, constitution passage you have understand, you find it difficult to understand. Your concept is not clear. Why don't you go through videos which explain fundamental rights? Or another thing would be to read NCRT 11th 12th standard. Okay, read Indian Polity 11th 12th standard NCRT. That should help. Okay, then start solving passages. It'll help you a lot. Right? Okay, guys, thank you so much. See you not tomorrow, but very really soon. Till then, take care. Good night. Bye bye. Thank you.